Your Majesty, true authority comes from helping people build better lives, not from forcing them to obey through fear. Choose Part 1. Year after first contact, Commander Junho stood in what had once been the dead industrial wasteland of Imperial World Korath Prime. Now living trees reached toward a clean blue sky, and clear streams flowed where toxic waste had once pooled. It's hard to believe this is the same planet, said Coordinator Hyunwoo, the human leader of the joint Imperial Human Restoration Project. Junho nodded, watching children play in gardens that had grown from soil that was poisonous just months ago. Imperial and human children played together, learning from plants that somehow responded to their laughter. The transformation had not been easy. When Emperor Donghyun announced his decision to accept the human partnership, half the Imperial military had rebelled. General Seung-ho had tried to launch his attack anyway, only to discover that his weapons would not function. His entire fleet had been gently but firmly escorted to the edge of Imperial space and told to choose exile or cooperation. The Emperor made the right choice, Junho said. But I never imagined change could happen this quickly. Healing happens fast when you stop fighting the process, replied scientist Na-young, who had become the leading expert in human Imperial technology fusion. Look at this. She showed him a factory that seemed to be made of living crystal. Inside workers, both human and Imperial, guided production processes that created materials without waste or pollution. The factory grows what we need, Na-young explained. When we need different products, we simply teach it new patterns. Nothing is wasted because everything the factory produces feeds back into the system. They walked through the facility, watching Imperial citizens learning to work with technology they had once thought impossible. Former miners now guided crystal trees that extracted minerals without damaging the landscape. Former weapons engineers designed healing systems that could repair environmental damage faster than it could be created. How are people adapting? Junho asked. Better than expected, said Chancellor Boram, joining their group. She had once been one of the Empire's harshest administrators, overseeing strip mining operations across 12 systems. Now she coordinated the restoration of those same worlds. I was wrong about everything, she admitted freely. I spent 40 years thinking that strength meant taking what you wanted by force. I never realized that real strength meant making everyone stronger together. They stopped at a viewing platform that overlooked the planetary capital. The city was unlike anything in Imperial or human architecture. Buildings grew from the ground like trees, but with clean lines and perfect proportions. Transportation flowed like rivers of light. Everything was beautiful, functional, and alive. The integration is proceeding faster than our most optimistic projections, Chancellor Boram continued. Imperial citizens are embracing biotechnology at rates we never expected. Why do you think that is? Coordinator Hyunwoo asked. Dr. Hana, who had become the Empire's leading expert on human civilization, approached their group with a smile. Because deep down people knew something was wrong with the old way. They just didn't know there was an alternative. She gestured to the transformed city below them. Look at the health statistics. Cancer rates down 90%. Mental illness nearly eliminated. Productivity up 300%. When people don't have to fight their environment every day, they become amazingly creative. Junho thought about the transformation he had witnessed across the Empire. Not every world had changed as dramatically as Korath Prime, but the pattern was consistent. Wherever human healing teams worked with Imperial citizens, life improved dramatically. What about the resistance movements? He asked. Chancellor Boram's expression grew serious. There are still groups who reject the partnership. Some former military officers, some industrial leaders who profited from the old system. They're trying to build their own separatist empire in the Outer Rim. Are they a threat? Not to us, Coordinator Hyunwoo replied. But they're a threat to themselves. They're trying to rebuild the old industrial model on worlds that can't support it. They'll either learn to cooperate with natural systems or they'll destroy themselves. We keep offering them help, Dr. Hana added. Some are starting to accept it. As they talked, a group of children ran up to them. Half were clearly Imperial, pale skin, serious expressions, careful movements. The others were human, darker skin, bright eyes, natural grace. But they moved together as one group, chattering excitedly in a mixture of Imperial Standard and Old Earth languages. Teacher Hyunwoo called a young Imperial girl named Songmi. The Learning Grove wants to show you something. They followed the children to a section of the city where education took place. Instead of traditional classrooms, students learned in living environments that responded to their needs and interests. "Watch this," said a human boy named Tae-ho. He approached a tree whose trunk showed complex mathematical equations in its bark. As he touched different parts of the tree, the equations changed and rearranged themselves. "The tree is teaching me advanced physics," he explained proudly. "But it makes sure I understand each step before moving on." Songmi ran to another tree that displayed star charts in its leaves. "I'm learning about stellar engineering," she said. "How to heal 6 stars and help them live longer." Junho watched in amazement as the children learned at rates that would have been impossible in traditional imperial schools. The living classrooms adapted to each child's learning style and pace, making education a joy instead of a struggle. "This is the real transformation," Dr. Hana whispered. "These children will grow up thinking cooperation is normal. They'll never know a world where technology fights against nature instead of working with it." "How long before the entire empire transforms?" Junho asked. "At current rates, maybe 50 years for complete integration," scientist Na Young replied. "But the benefits start immediately. Every world we heal becomes a center for further healing. And the humans? How are they adapting to closer contact with imperial civilization?" Coordinator Hyunwoo smiled. "Better than we hoped. For 800 years we've been growing in isolation. Learning to work with your people has taught us new things about cooperation. Your systematic approach combined with our biotechnology is creating possibilities neither of us imagined alone." They were interrupted by an announcement echoing through the city. "Attention all citizens. Long-range scouts report successful first contact with the Andorian Federation. Negotiations for partnership are beginning." Junho looked surprised. "The Andorians? They've been our enemies for 2 centuries. Not anymore," Chancellor Boram said with satisfaction. "When they saw what we've accomplished here, they asked to join the partnership. 3 other civilizations have made similar requests." "The healing is spreading," Dr. Hana observed, "just like the humans planned." As the day ended, they gathered on a balcony overlooking the restored world. The setting sun painted the living city in gold and green. In the distance, they could see the starport where ships designed with the new hybrid technology prepared for journeys to spread healing across the galaxy. "Do you ever miss the old empire?" Coordinator Hyunwoo asked Junho. The former imperial commander considered this carefully. "I miss the certainty," he admitted. "Everything was clear. You conquered or you were conquered, you took what you needed or you went without. But I don't miss the fear. I don't miss watching worlds die. I don't miss the constant fighting. And now I wake up each day knowing that our work makes life better instead of worse. I see children learning to heal stars instead of destroy them. I see former enemies becoming friends." He paused, looking out at the thriving world below. "No, I don't miss the old empire. This is better." Chancellor Boram nodded. "My daughter is studying to become a stellar healer. 50 years ago, the most successful career for an imperial citizen was learning to destroy things efficiently. Now the most respected careers involve learning to heal and create." "What comes next?" Dr. Hana asked. "The same thing humans have been doing for 800 years, Coordinator Hyunwoo replied. "We keep growing. We keep healing. We keep finding new ways for different forms of life to work together." "The galaxy is vast," scientist Na Young added. "There are millions of worlds that need healing, billions of species that could benefit from what we're learning. This is just the beginning." As night fell over the transformed world, bioluminescent patterns began to glow throughout the city. The buildings themselves provided gentle light, creating a scene of perfect beauty and harmony. "You know," Junho said quietly, "when we first discovered the humans, I thought our job was to report a threat to the Empire. I never imagined we were actually discovering the future. That's the thing about cooperation," Coordinator Hyunwoo observed. "It always creates more than anyone expects. When different groups work together, they don't just add their strengths, they multiply them." Dr. Hana pulled up her datapad, showing the latest reports from across the galaxy. 17 worlds fully transformed, 43 more in the healing process, 8 new species requesting partnership, and every success makes the next one easier. "How many imperial citizens have chosen the biotechnology integration?" Junho asked. Emperor Dong-hyun stood before the massive window of his palace ship, staring out at the stars that his empire had conquered. For 3,000 years, his family had ruled the galaxy through strength and fear. Now reports from the edge of known space threatened to destroy everything he believed about power. "Tell me again what you saw," he commanded without turning around. Admiral Kyung-soo stood at attention, his voice steady despite the impossible things he had to report. The humans possess technology that makes our most advanced systems look primitive, Your Majesty. They disabled our entire fleet without effort. They appear and disappear at will. Their cities are alive, and their numbers? Unknown, but far greater than we initially believed. They may have a larger population than the Empire itself. The Emperor finally turned, his face carved from years of absolute authority. Recommendations? General Sung-ho stepped forward eagerly. Immediate military action, Your Majesty. We cannot allow this threat to grow. If they possess such advanced technology, we must either capture it or destroy it before they use it against us. And you believe we can succeed where our weapons failed completely? The general's jaw tightened. With respect, Your Majesty, Admiral Kyung-soo's force was unprepared. A full Imperial war fleet with planet-killer weapons could eliminate their settlements before they could respond. Before the Emperor could reply, a soft chime filled the throne room. Without any visible means of arrival, a human woman materialized in the center of the chamber. The guards immediately drew weapons, but their energy rifles would not fire. Peace, the woman said calmly. I am Ambassador Yuna. I come with an offer from the human coalition. The Emperor studied her carefully. She was young, perhaps 30 years old, with intelligent eyes and an aura of complete confidence. She showed no fear despite being surrounded by the most powerful people in the galaxy. How did you get past our defenses? Your Majesty, with respect, we have been observing Imperial activities for centuries. Your defenses are well known to us. General Sung-ho stepped forward aggressively. You will address the Emperor with proper respect or what? Yuna asked gently. You will threaten me with weapons that do not work? You will imprison me in cells that cannot hold me? You will demand respect through fear from people who do not fear you? The Emperor raised his hand, silencing the general. What is your offer, Ambassador? Yuna gestured, and the air filled with holographic images. They showed Imperial worlds, but not as they appeared in official reports. These images revealed the truth. Polluted oceans, poisoned atmospheres, stripped landscapes, and dying ecosystems. Your empire is destroying itself, Your Majesty. Within 500 years, most Imperial worlds will be uninhabitable. The industrial processes that you believe make you strong are actually killing the galaxy. Lies, General Sung-ho spat. Imperial worlds are the most productive in galactic history. Productive of what? Yuna asked. Wealth for a few while millions suffer in poisoned cities. Resources extracted so quickly that worlds cannot regenerate. Weapons that can destroy planets but cannot heal them. More images appeared showing human settlements. Worlds where technology and nature worked together. Cities that cleaned the air instead of polluting it. Oceans full of life instead of industrial waste. We offer partnership, Yuna continued. Share our biotechnology with your people. Learn to build with natural systems instead of against them. Transform your empire from a force of destruction into a force of healing. The Emperor considered this. What would you require in return? The end of strip mining operations on all Imperial worlds. The conversion of military fleets into exploration and healing vessels. The transformation of Imperial society from conquest-based to cooperation-based. General Sung-ho laughed harshly. You ask us to destroy everything that makes the Empire strong. This is surrender disguised as partnership, is it? Yuna asked. Let me show you true strength. The holographic display changed, showing a dead Imperial world that had been abandoned after its resources were exhausted. Then the image shifted, showing the same world 1 year later. It was green and alive, with oceans restored and atmosphere cleared. Human healing teams did this in 12 months, Yuna explained. We took a world your empire had killed and brought it back to life. Which is stronger, the power to destroy or the power to heal? Emperor Donghyun felt something he had not experienced in decades. Uncertainty. Show me more. The displays continued, showing human achievements across the galaxy. Dying stars restored to health. Poisoned nebulae cleansed and brought back to life. Dead worlds transformed into gardens, and everywhere cooperation between species that had been enemies for millennia. How? He asked quietly. By treating the galaxy as a living system instead of a machine to be exploited, Yuna replied. Your empire extracts wealth by taking from natural systems. Our civilization creates wealth by making natural systems stronger. And if we refuse your offer? Yuna's expression grew sad. Then we will be forced to protect the galaxy from further harm. We will heal the damage faster than you can create it. We will make your weapons harmless. We will isolate your industrial worlds until they can no longer poison their neighbors. That is an act of war, General Sung Ho declared. No, General. That is an act of healing. War is what your empire has been waging against the galaxy for 3,000 years. The Emperor moved to his command throne deep in thought. Everything he had been taught about leadership and power was being challenged. But the evidence was undeniable. Imperial methods were failing while human methods succeeded beyond imagination. What guarantee do we have that you will not simply conquer us once we are weakened by change? Yuna smiled for the first time. Your Majesty, if we wanted to conquer the Empire, we could have done so at any time in the past 800 years. Conquest requires an enemy. We prefer partners. My advisors will call this weakness. Let me tell you what weakness really is, Yuna replied, her voice growing firm. Weakness is needing to destroy other life to feel strong. Weakness is being afraid of change even when your current path leads to death. Weakness is choosing pride over survival. General Seung Ho could contain himself no longer. Enough of this. Your Majesty, give me one planet killer missile. I will show these humans the price of threatening the Empire. Yuna turned to face him directly. General, what if I told you that we have been protecting Imperial worlds from disasters for centuries without your knowledge? What if I told you that 3 of your core worlds would have been destroyed by natural catastrophes if human teams had not quietly prevented them? Impossible. Your Majesty, Yuna said, addressing the Emperor directly, please have your intelligence services check the records for Imperial World Centauri 7, 15 years ago. Check what happened to the asteroid that was on a collision course with the planet. The Emperor activated his personal datapad and pulled up the files. His face grew pale as he read. The asteroid mysteriously changed course at the last moment. Our scientists could never explain how. We deflected it, Yuna said simply, just as we have prevented 17 other extinction-level events across Imperial space. We have been protecting your people even while you considered us enemies. Why? Because life is precious, Your Majesty. All life. Even the lives of those who do not yet understand that cooperation is stronger than conquest. The throne room fell silent except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Emperor Dong Hyun sat in his command chair, the weight of absolute power suddenly feeling like a burden instead of a privilege. How long do we have to decide? The galaxy's ecological damage is accelerating, Yuna replied. Within 50 years, the cascading failures will reach a point where even our technology cannot reverse them. But the choice to begin healing must be made much sooner. How much sooner? General Sung Ho's fleet is already moving to attack our settlements. Once Imperial forces fire the first shot in anger, the opportunity for peaceful transformation may be lost forever. The Emperor looked at his general, then back at the human ambassador. And if I order the attack called off? Then we begin the greatest partnership in galactic history. We heal your wounded worlds. We teach your people to work with nature instead of against it. We show you how to build a civilization that grows stronger through cooperation instead of weaker through conquest. Your Majesty, General Seung Ho pleaded, this is our last chance to maintain Imperial dominance. If we show weakness now, General, the Emperor interrupted, what good is dominance over a dead galaxy? He stood and walked to the great window again, looking out at the stars. Some of them were dimmer than they had been in his youth. Some sectors of space showed signs of the industrial damage Yuna had described. Ambassador, I will give you my answer within 12 hours. But first I need to see proof that your way can truly work for Imperial citizens. Yuna nodded. We are prepared to transform one Imperial world as a demonstration. Choose any planet you wish, the most damaged, the most hopeless. We will heal it and show your people what their future could look like. As she prepared to leave, the Emperor called out, Ambassador, one final question. If we choose partnership, what happens to Imperial authority? Yuna paused at the edge of the transporter effect. Elder Wu Jin sat in a garden that existed between dimensions. Around him, plants from 1,000 worlds grew in impossible harmony. Each leaf, each flower, told a story of cooperation between species that had once been enemies. Commander Jun Ho and Dr. Hana sat across from him, their minds struggling to understand what they were seeing. The garden wasn't on any planet. It existed in folded space, accessible only through human biotechnology. You want to know the truth about what happened 800 years ago? The elder said. It wasn't a question. His ancient eyes saw through their careful diplomatic words to the real questions burning inside them. Yes, Dr. Hana replied. Our records show the Great Purge Wars, human worlds being destroyed, fleets scattered and defeated. Elder Wujin smiled, but it was filled with old sadness. Your records are correct about the destruction, but wrong about who caused it. He gestured to a nearby tree whose trunk showed scenes like a living hologram. Images of Earth appeared in the bark. Cities, forests, oceans full of life. Humans in those days were much like your empire now. We strip-mined worlds for resources. We fought wars over territory. We believed that conquest made us strong. The images in the tree trunk changed, showing factories that poisoned rivers, cities that blocked out the sun, wars that left entire continents burning. But some of us began to see where this path led, the elder continued. A small group of scientists and philosophers proposed a different way. Instead of dominating nature, we would learn to work with it. What happened to them? Junho asked. They were laughed at. Called weak. Told that cooperation was for the defeated. The tree showed images of people being rejected, their ideas dismissed. Dr. Hana leaned forward, but they continued their work anyway? In secret. For 200 years, they developed the foundations of what you see now. Living technology, symbiotic relationships with other species, methods of healing worlds instead of destroying them. The tree's images now showed small groups of humans working with plants and animals in ways that seemed impossible. Machines that grew instead of being built. Cities that cleaned the air instead of poisoning it. Then the Empire found us, Elder Wujin said, his voice growing cold. New images appeared. Massive imperial fleets arriving at human worlds. But these weren't the glorious conquests described in imperial history books. They showed desperate fights and terrible destruction. The Empire saw our technology and wanted to possess it. When we refused to share it for military purposes, they decided to take it by force. But you fought back, Junho said. Our records show human resistance. Yes, but not the way you think. The elder stood and walked to another part of the garden, where a fountain played with water that sparkled like stars. The human military fought the Empire directly. They were brave and they died heroes. But their sacrifice bought time for the real plan. Dr. Hana felt understanding beginning to dawn. The secret scientists. They had an escape plan, more than an escape, a transformation. Elder Wujin touched the star water, and it formed shapes in the air showing vast ships unlike anything they had ever seen. While our soldiers held the Empire's attention, we evacuated everyone who wanted to join us. Not just to run away, but to become something new. How many? Junho asked quietly. 8 billion humans left Earth and the outer colonies. We spread across the galaxy in ships that could hide between dimensions. We found worlds that Imperial sensors couldn't detect. Worlds between worlds. Spaces that exist in the gaps of normal reality. The water shapes showed human settlements on impossible worlds. Cities that floated in gas clouds between stars. Colonies built inside the shells of dead planets that were somehow brought back to life. Settlements that existed in multiple dimensions at once. For 800 years, we have been growing. Not conquering, growing. Each world we touch becomes healthier. Each species we meet becomes our partner. We have learned to heal damaged space, to bring life to dead systems, to make peace between natural enemies. Dr. Hana's hands shook as she took notes. How many worlds? How many humans are there now? Elder Wujin smiled, and for the first time it was filled with pure joy. More than 200 billion humans across over 10,000 systems. We have become gardeners of the galaxy. Junho felt the universe spinning around him. The Empire controlled 40,000 systems and thought itself the master of known space. But humans had built a civilization 3 times larger without anyone knowing. Why reveal yourselves now? He asked. The elder's expression grew serious again. Because the Empire's destruction is accelerating. Your industrial processes are poisoning entire sectors of space. Within 300 years, the damage will reach a point where even we cannot heal it. You're saying the Empire is destroying the galaxy? Not intentionally. But Imperial technology is based on taking energy from natural systems without giving anything back. It's like cutting down a forest to build houses, then wondering why the air becomes poisonous. As if responding to his words, the garden around them shimmered. New plants appeared. Twisted, blackened things that hurt to look at. These are samples from the space around Imperial core worlds, the elder explained. Even the quantum vacuum is being damaged by uncontrolled industrial processes. Dr. Hana stood up, her scientific mind racing. Can it be stopped? Can the damage be reversed? Yes, but only if the Empire chooses a different path. You cannot continue treating the galaxy as a resource to be consumed. And if we refuse to change? Elder Wu Jin gestured, and the garden filled with images of possible futures. Dead worlds spinning around dying stars, space itself becoming poisonous, the great spiral arms of the galaxy fading to black. Then everything dies, including us. Before they could ask more questions, a new presence entered the garden. Researcher Ye Jin materialized near them, her face urgent with news. Elder, I apologize for interrupting, but Imperial General Seung Ho has arrived with a war fleet. He's demanding our immediate surrender. Elder Wu Jin sighed. Some learn wisdom, others learn only force. Can you stop him like you stopped the Admiral's weapons? Junho asked. Yes, but that is not the real problem. The Elder looked directly at both Imperial officers. General Seung Ho represents the part of your empire that would rather destroy the galaxy than change its ways. If he succeeds in convincing your emperor that we are a threat, then everything we hope to accomplish becomes impossible. What can we do? Dr. Hana asked. Researcher Ye Jin stepped forward. Help us show your people that there is another way. Be witnesses to what cooperation can accomplish. She led them to the edge of the garden, where they could see through dimensional barriers to normal space. Below them hung the General's war fleet, over 100 ships armed with weapons designed to destroy planets. But they could also see human settlements responding to the threat. Not by building weapons, but by growing protections, living shields that could absorb energy, defensive systems that healed themselves faster than they could be damaged. Your general believes that force is the only language the universe understands, Elder Wu Jin observed. We will have to show him otherwise. How? By doing what humans have always done best. We adapt. The Elder touched a flower that glowed with inner light, and suddenly they could see much further. Across the galaxy, human settlements were revealing themselves. Not just the 3 planets that had been discovered, but thousands upon thousands of hidden worlds. Each one was beautiful beyond description. Each one showed that life could flourish without destroying other life. This is what we offer your empire, Elder Wu Jin said. Not conquest, but transformation. Not dominion, but partnership. And if they choose war instead? The Elder's ancient eyes filled with infinite sadness. Then we will protect ourselves. But we will also protect the galaxy from further harm, even if that means protecting it from the Empire itself. Dr. Hana understood the implication immediately. You could stop Imperial expansion completely. We could make every Imperial weapon useless. We could heal every world faster than you could damage it. We could make your entire military irrelevant without firing a single shot. Junho felt a chill of fear and awe. Why haven't you done this already? Because we still hope for friendship. We still believe the Empire can choose wisdom over power. Elder Wu Jin looked directly at him. But that choice must be made soon. General Seung Ho's attack will force the decision. As alarms began sounding from the human settlements below, researcher Ye Jin prepared to transport them back to their ship. Remember what you have seen here, Elder Wu Jin told them. Remember that there is more than one way to be strong. And remember that the future of all galactic civilization may depend on the choices your empire makes in the next few days. Will we see you again? Dr. Hana asked. The Elder smiled. If your people choose wisdom, you will see wonders beyond imagining. If they choose war, he paused, looking infinitely sad, then you will see why we learned long ago that some battles are won by refusing to fight them. 3 days after first contact, Commander Junho stood in the conference room of his ship facing a holographic image of Admiral Kyung-soo. The Admiral's face showed disbelief and anger. You're telling me that humans, supposedly extinct for 800 years, have built a civilization that spans 3 planets? The Admiral demanded. Yes, sir. And their technology is far beyond anything we possess, Junho replied, trying to keep his voice steady. Impossible. Humans were primitive. They could barely manage their own planet before we eliminated them. Dr. Hana stepped forward. Sir, with respect, our assumptions about human capabilities appear to have been completely wrong. What we've seen here challenges everything we know about technological development. The Admiral's image flickered as he considered this. I'm sending additional ships to your location. Do not engage with these humans until I arrive. That's a direct order. After the transmission ended, Junho turned to his crew. Despite the Admiral's orders, the humans had continued to welcome small groups from the ship to visit their cities. Each visit revealed new wonders and new questions. Commander, said Dr. Hana, I think you should see what healer Minna showed us yesterday. They made their way to the planet's surface where they had been given a building to use as a temporary embassy. The structure had grown from the ground overnight after they mentioned needing a place to meet. It was made of living walls that provided perfect temperature and humidity. Inside, they found engineer Sora waiting with a woman they hadn't met before. She was small and appeared to be in her 40s with gentle eyes and an aura of calm competence. "This is healer Minna," Sora said. "She wanted to share something with you about our medical advances." Minna smiled and gestured to a corner of the room where a man sat reading. "That is my assistant, Jinwoo. 3 days ago, he lost his left arm in an accident while helping to prepare this building for you." Junho looked closer and saw that the man had 2 perfectly normal arms. "I don't understand." "Jinwoo, would you show our guests?" Minna asked kindly. The man rolled up his left sleeve, revealing skin that was slightly different in color from his right arm. "The new arm grew back in 2 days," he explained. "It works perfectly." Dr. Hana stared in shock. "That's impossible. Humans cannot regenerate limbs." "We couldn't before," Minna agreed. "But when we learned to work with living systems instead of fighting them, our bodies remembered abilities they had lost long ago." She led them to what she called a healing garden. Plants of every color and shape grew in careful patterns. Some glowed softly, others hummed with gentle sounds. "Each plant here has been our partner for generations," Minna explained. "They help us heal faster, live longer, and stay healthier. In return, we help them spread to new worlds and grow stronger." Dr. Hana pulled out her medical scanner and asked permission to examine Jinwoo's regrown arm. The readings amazed her. "The cellular structure is perfect. There's no scar tissue, no sign of trauma. It's as if this arm had always been there." "Because in a way it had," Minna said. "We didn't replace what was lost. We helped his body remember its complete form." Before they could ask more questions, alarms sounded from their ship. Officer Sang-min's voice came through their communicators. "Commander, Admiral Kyung-soo has arrived with a fleet of 12 ships. He's demanding immediate transport to the surface." Back on the ship, Admiral Kyung-soo paced the bridge like a caged animal. He was a large man with cold eyes and a reputation for harsh decisions. Behind him stood General Shung-ho, whose mere presence made the crew nervous. "Where are these supposed humans?" the Admiral demanded. "They said they would come when you were ready to meet them properly," Junho replied. "Ready? I don't ask permission from extinct species." The Admiral's voice was getting louder. "I want a full military assessment of their capabilities. Are they a threat to the Empire?" Before Junho could answer, a soft chime filled the bridge. Everyone turned to see 3 humans materializing in the center of the room. They hadn't used transporters or shuttles. They had simply appeared. The first was Captain Taemin, looking calm and dignified. The second was a young woman with bright, intelligent eyes who introduced herself as Scout Da-un. The third was an elderly man with a long white beard and ancient, knowing eyes. "Greetings, Admiral Kyung-soo," the old man said in a voice like distant thunder. "I am Elder Woo Jin. We come in peace to speak with you." General Sung-ho immediately reached for his weapon but found his hand frozen. He couldn't move his arm at all. "We mean no harm," Scout Da-un said gently, "but weapons have no place in peaceful discussions." Admiral Kyung-soo's face turned red with fury. "How dare you? I am an admiral of the Galactic Dominion Empire. You will show proper respect." Elder Woo Jin smiled sadly. "We show respect to all living beings, Admiral. But respect must be earned through actions, not demanded through threats." "Your fleet is impressive," Captain Taemin observed, looking at the ship's displays showing the 12 Imperial vessels. "But we have been watching the Empire for many years. We know your capabilities." "Watching us?" Dr. Hana asked, her curiosity overcoming the tension. Scout Da-un nodded. "We have been aware of every Imperial expansion, every conquest, every world strip-mined for resources. We chose to remain hidden because we hoped the Empire would learn wisdom before it was too late." "Too late for what?" Admiral Kyung-soo demanded. "For the galaxy itself," Elder Woo Jin replied gravely. "The Empire's methods are destroying the delicate balance that keeps star systems alive. Within 500 years, most Imperial worlds will be uninhabitable." General Sung-ho, who had regained the use of his arm, spoke for the first time. "You're lying. Imperial technology has tamed thousands of worlds. We are the most successful civilization in galactic history." "Success measured how?" Scout Da-un asked. "By the number of dead worlds left behind? By species driven to extinction? By the growing zones of poisoned space around industrial systems, she gestured, and the ship's main screen lit up with images they had never seen before. Imperial worlds shown from space, but not as they appeared in official records. These images showed brown oceans, dead forests, and cities choking in poisonous air. These are your core industrial worlds, Captain Taemin explained. What you see as success, we see as a spreading disease. Admiral Kyung-soo stared at the images. Some of these were worlds he had visited. They had seemed powerful and productive from the official reports. But these images showed a different truth. Why should we believe you? He asked, but his voice had lost some of its certainty. Elder Wu Jin stepped forward. Because 800 years ago, humans were making the same mistakes. We were strip-mining worlds, poisoning atmospheres, and calling it progress. We realized that our path led only to destruction. So you ran away, General Xiang-ho sneered. No, Scout Da-un replied firmly. We chose evolution over extinction. We learned that true strength comes from working with natural systems, not destroying them. Prove it, Admiral Kyung-soo challenged. Captain Taemin smiled. Very well. Scout Da-un, please show them our defensive capabilities. Da-un touched a small device on her wrist. Instantly, every weapon on all 12 Imperial ships stopped working. Not damaged, not destroyed, simply turned off as if they had never existed. The bridge fell silent except for the panicked voices of ship officers reporting system failures throughout the fleet. But the life support systems, the engines, and all peaceful technology continued working perfectly. How? Whispered Dr. Hana. The same way plants turn sunlight into energy, Da-un explained. We learned to work with the fundamental forces of nature instead of fighting them. Your weapons are based on destruction and force. Our technology simply convinced them to sleep. Admiral Kyung-soo slumped into his command chair. For the first time in his career, he faced a power he couldn't understand or control. What do you want from us? He asked quietly. Elder Wu Jin's expression grew hopeful. The same thing we wanted 800 years ago when we left Earth. We want to share knowledge that could save all galactic civilization. But first, the Empire must be willing to change. Change how? Learn to build with nature instead of against it, Captain Taemin replied. Stop seeing worlds as resources to be consumed and start seeing them as partners to work with. And if we refuse? General Sung-ho asked. Scout Da-un looked sad. Then the galaxy will continue dying, and eventually, there will be nowhere left for any of us to live. As the humans prepared to leave, Admiral Kyung-soo called out, Wait, how many of you are there? How far does your civilization extend? Elder Wu Jin paused at the edge of the transporter effect. Admiral, we didn't just flee to 3 planets. We have been very busy for 8 centuries, but you're not ready to know that yet. As they faded away, the Admiral turned to Commander Junho. Get me a direct line to the Emperor. Everything just changed. Commander Junho stared at the readings on his screen for the 3rd time. The numbers made no sense. His ship, the Starbreaker, had been exploring dead space for 6 months. Every system they checked was empty or filled with worthless rocks. But this place was different. Dr. Hana, come look at this, he called to the scientist working at her station. She was the best at reading old worlds and lost things. If anyone could explain what they were seeing, it would be her. Dr. Hana walked over and looked at the energy readings. Her eyes went wide. These numbers are impossible. Nothing should be putting out this much power in this region. The Kepler 442 system was marked as dead space in all the Empire records. The Galactic Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. They knew every living world, every useful resource, every place where people could survive. This system was supposed to be empty. Take us closer, Junho ordered his crew. But keep the shields up. Something that puts out this much energy could be dangerous. As their ship moved into the system, they saw 3 planets orbiting a yellow star. The planets were green and blue, covered with clouds and clearly alive. Cities dotted the surfaces, but they looked strange. Instead of the metal and concrete structures the Empire used, these cities seemed to grow from the ground like plants. Sir, called Officer Sang-min from his station. I'm picking up life signs. Lots of them. These planets are full of people. Dr. Hana was studying the cities through the ship's powerful cameras. The architecture is completely unknown. These buildings appear to be living organisms rather than constructed materials. Junho felt a cold fear in his stomach. Unknown people with unknown technology could mean trouble for the Empire.
Are they hostile?
Do they have weapons? I don't see any weapons, sir, Sang-min replied. but the energy signatures suggest they have technology we don't understand. As they got closer to the first planet, something amazing happened. The planet's surface began to glow with soft colored lights. It was beautiful, like the planet was welcoming them, but it was also scary because it meant the people down there knew they were coming. "Sir, we're getting a signal," reported Communications Officer Yun Su. "It's on a frequency we use, but the language is—" She paused, looking confused. "Sir, they're speaking Old Earth Standard." Junho's blood went cold. Old Earth Standard was the language humans used to speak. But humans had been extinct for 800 years. Everyone knew that. The Empire had records of their destruction during the Great Purge Wars. "That's impossible," Dr. Hana whispered. "Humans are extinct. Earth was destroyed." "Put the signal through," Junho ordered, his voice shaking slightly. A clear voice came through their speakers. It was warm and friendly, nothing like the harsh sounds of Empire languages. "Welcome, travelers from the Dominion Fleet. This is Captain Tae-min of the Harmony Settlement. We invite you to land and speak with us in peace." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at each other in shock. The voice had called them by name, knew they were from the Dominion and spoke in the dead language of extinct humans. "How do they know who we are?" whispered Sang-min. Dr. Hana was working frantically at her station, scanning the planets with every sensor they had. "The genetic readings are coming back human. Not similar to human. Not descended from human. These are humans. Respond to their signal," Junho said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Tell them we accept their invitation to land." As they descended through the atmosphere of the first planet, they could see the cities more clearly. The buildings really were alive. They pulsed with gentle light and their walls seemed to breathe. Gardens covered every surface and the air was clean and sweet-smelling. They landed in a clearing near the largest city. As they stepped out of their ship, a group of people approached them. They looked completely human. 2 arms, 2 legs, normal faces. But their clothes seemed to be made of living fabric that shifted colors in the sunlight. The leader of the group was a man about 40 years old with kind eyes and a peaceful expression. "I am Captain Tae-min," he said in perfect Old Earth Standard. "We are honored to meet representatives of the Galactic Dominion Empire." Junho found his voice. "I am Commander Junho of the Imperial Fleet. We thought humans were extinct." Tae-min smiled sadly. "We are very much alive, Commander. We have been waiting a long time for this day." Dr. Hana stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her shock. "How is this possible?" "Our records show Earth was destroyed 800 years ago." "Your records are not wrong," replied a woman who introduced herself as Engineer Sora. "Earth was indeed destroyed. But we left long before that happened." She gestured to the living city around them. "What you see here took us many generations to build. We did not flee randomly into space. We planned our departure carefully and chose worlds where we could grow something new." Commander Junho looked around at the incredible sight. The buildings seemed to respond to the people walking near them, opening doorways and providing shade. Children played in gardens where the plants seemed to play back, growing into swings and slides. "Your technology," Dr. Hana said, pulling out her scanner. "It's beyond anything we have in the Empire." "How did you develop this?" Engineer Sora smiled. "We chose a different path than the Empire. Where you build machines to control nature, we learned to work with it. Our cities are partners, not possessions." A young girl ran up to them, laughing as a vine gently lifted her up to pick fruit from a tree. The vine then offered fruit to the visitors. When Dr. Hana reached out to touch it, the vine responded by growing flowers around her hand. "This is impossible," she whispered. "Plants don't behave this way naturally. They do when you treat them as friends instead of resources," Captain Tae-min explained. "We learned that cooperation works better than domination." Commander Junho felt his world changing around him. Everything the Empire taught about strength, power, and control was being challenged by what he saw. These humans had clearly thrived without conquest or force. "How many of you are there?" he asked. "More than you might expect," Sora replied with a mysterious smile. "We have been busy these past 8 centuries. As they walked through the city, more wonders revealed themselves. Buildings that repaired themselves when damaged. Transportation systems that were actually giant creatures happy to carry passengers. Medical centers where healing plants worked alongside human doctors to cure diseases instantly. But what struck Junho most was how happy everyone seemed. In the Empire, people worked hard and followed orders. Here, people laughed and played even while working. Children learned by talking to the living buildings. Elders shared stories with trees that somehow listened and remembered. "Why did you reveal yourselves to us now?" Dr. Hana asked as they reached the center of the city. Captain Taman's expression grew serious. "Because it is time. The galaxy is in danger, and hiding will no longer protect what we have built." "What danger?" Commander Junho asked. "The same danger that made us leave Earth long ago," Sora replied. "The Empire's way of life cannot continue forever. Soon you will face choices that will determine whether galactic civilization survives or dies." Before Junho could ask more questions, Officer Sangmin's voice crackled through his communicator. "Commander, we're receiving priority signals from Imperial Command. They want immediate reports on what we've found." Captain Taman nodded, understanding. "You must report to your superiors." "We expected this. But know that whatever comes next, we hope for friendship between our peoples." As they walked back to their ship, Dr. Hana grabbed Junho's arm. "What are we going to tell them? How do we explain that humans not only survived but developed technology that makes our empire look primitive?" Commander Junho looked back at the living city, its gentle lights pulsing like a heartbeat. "We tell them the truth, and then we prepare for everything to change."